Positively Spiritual. My name is Shannon Gilmore. It is so nice to see you. Hello, Robert. How you doing? Welcome, everyone. It is Saturday, and it's a lovely Saturday in Ontario today. We're here live in Canada. We're here live twice a day, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 10 o'clock in the evening, and on Sundays we are here at 2 instead of 1 o'clock. 2 o'clock in the afternoon to do a Bible study, and we deep dive into the Word of God. So, what do we do on this channel? Well, we take a look at the psychological aspects of narcissism. We take a look at the psychological aspects of what makes us tick, our behavior. And we also look at that from a scientific perspective, but also definitely from a biblical perspective, as we believe that Jesus Christ is our Lord and Savior here on this channel. Now, everybody is welcome. Whoever you are welcome to get in on the chit chat. You're welcome to listen and learn and grow. But if you do get in on the chit chat, may I just please ask you to please be respectful. Mind your audience. Not everybody is at the same headspace or heart space as you. And so just be careful. Walk tenderly, tread carefully. All right. Hello, James. Nice to see you. Welcome, everyone. I am a peer support mentor. What that means is I mentor you through your challenges, either here publicly or personally. If you want a one-on-one consultation, you can get in on an hour chit chat with me. The link is in the description of this video. And what we do is you share with me what the problem is. And, I just listen, and you feel better by talking. And together we brainstorm. We come up with a solution or a working understanding behind the problem to help you navigate your life and the situation a little bit easier as we direct you to God's Word. So if that sounds good for you, please take a look at the link in the description of this video or in the chat. Hello, Resistor. Resistor has posted our links, and you can make an appointment with me as soon as possible. So today we are going to be talking about innocence. What is weaponized innocence? Well, the narcissist preys upon our innocence. And, oh, hi, Eligos. Nice to see you. Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday to you too. So the narcissist likes to weaponize our innocence, as the narcissist thinks that our innocence is naivety. And it is, because we're innocent of knowing the motive of the narcissist. And because we're not used to being aware that we're victimized by the narcissist or by toxic people, we really don't have this knowledge base of saying, I think somebody's trying to play me. I think I'm being snookered. I think I'm being hoodwinked. I think I'm being snickerdoodled. No, we don't think that. We're just like, they say something. They often say something that tells on themselves. They let us in on their little secrets, and they say something like, I really don't trust people. And that just flies over your head, like you just ignore it. Like, surely I'm going to be the person that they're going to trust. I'm going to break the mold. You just think, you don't think anything of it. Or when they say, I'm a very honest person. I don't tell lies. I'm a straight shooter, and I'm blunt. Like, I tell it like it is. And you're just like, surely they're not going to be that with me, are they? Oh, yeah, they're telling you exactly who they are, and they're doing it on purpose to gauge how naive or innocent you really are. So weaponized innocence is a psychological maneuver or tactic people use to manipulate. It's used to control or disarm other people, and narcissists do use it very well. It gives the appearance of innocence in order so that the individual seems kind, compassionate, vulnerable, or even moral. So this allows the victim to let down their guard while the abuser pretends to be innocent in order to get what they want, which is sympathy, avoid accountability, or even shift blame. So the narcissist gauges our innocence, how, we're straight shooters, we're innocent in the way of we're truthful, we're peaceful, we're kind, we're compassionate. We're not looking for what's the problem here. Something doesn't smell pass the smell test. I'm feeling a little bit off here. Something doesn't sit right with me. Well, the narcissist is kind of gauging for, those little feelers. Do we send out feelers? Like, we don't. We just take it on faith that someone is being honest with us, because that's just who we are. Hello, Cynthia, nice to see you. Boasting is a red flag. Absolutely it is. Hi. You are with me at a picnic in the park. Oh, how lovely. Thank you. That's so nice. I love picnics. Maya Angelou said, when people show you who they are, believe them the first time. Amen to that. So the narcissist gauges our innocent qualities because that's what compassion and trust and forgiveness is. It's innocent. It's innocent of wrongdoing. This is what unconditional love is. So the narcissist is weaponizing our unconditional love and seeing it as a weakness. So weaponized innocence shows up in three ways. It's used as a shield of deflection. When an individual is confronted, a narcissist is confronted, they'll feign innocence, as they'll feign confusion, act hurt, and play dumb. What? Oh, are you serious? I can't believe you think that I said that about you. No. Or they'll say, why are you so mad at me? I was only trying to help. I guess I won't help you ever again then, because right now I was just trying to help you. Can't you see that? Yeah, well, the motive of this person is to flip the script, revert the storyline by shifting the balance between you and them, meaning that they try to take power and control and leave you weak and defenseless. You end up feeling guilty for standing against them and speaking up about for what you want or what you need. And number two, they use your innocence as a trap of sympathy, as they mirror your innocence, and this toxic person feigns being misunderstood or pretends to be morally superior in hopes that they will be protected or defended. This works well among your friends and family, as this is something that the narcissist uses to triangulate you. It's how the narcissist uses to control the narrative of the room. So your innocence is a wonderful quality, but your innocence is a childlike stance. Excuse me. And innocence without discernment is destructive. It's what leads us to our downfall. Now, there's another point, as weaponized innocence shows up in three ways. So the third way is that it's what I call the tarnished halo syndrome. This toxic person is known for their narcissistic behavior, so they already know, like you already know who they are, but they can't help themselves. regardless of what you think about them, regardless of what they know other people think about them, they play the role of the victim. This is what we would see in the vulnerable narcissist. Oh, somebody help me. Oh. Yeah. They act the injured party while secretly undermining others and plotting chaos behind the scenes. They do this for public image. They perceive their target as the crazy maker, or they portray their target as being cruel in public just to maintain crowd control. So I think we've all been there. You know, the emasculating female narcissist, she will berate the man in front of anybody who's listening, strangers, a crowd, a restaurant, even family members. She will go for the jugular, and it's no holds barred. And same with the male. A male who, will treat his significant other in public, just demean people. It's cruel, but somehow they twist to make it seem like they are the victim, they are the injured party. And it's to save face, it's to make themselves feel better. But here's the thing, weaponized innocence isn't always used by narcissists. It's used as a response to trauma. And many people don't recognize, many of us victims do not recognize that we do this because it's not malicious. Oh, it's not malicious. It's a fear response, and it is a cry for safety. So here's how that may look. Number one, survival mimicry. The victim of abuse mimics what they see from their toxic partner or person of influence. Children do this with their parents. They mimic what their parents are doing, not seeing the motive, but they see that it gets results, so they do it. That's how you get the bullies in school, right? Because the child is bullied, or they see their parents bullying somebody else, and they see that their parents hold the control and power. Oh, that person, my dad just beat the crap out of that person and threatened him, and that person just gave what my dad wanted. Like, ooh, that's power. And some kids, mimic that. And sometimes that's what we end up doing, not because we want to, but it just becomes normal, because this is what ultimately the narcissist is training and grooming us to do, to become like them. But we don't have the motive of knowing why we're doing it. But the narcissist knows exactly why they're doing it. We don't. So sometimes we learn that agreeableness or staying helpless, it gets us attention, it gets us validation, but ultimately it keeps the peace and prevents backlash when we're with the narcissist. So see, the narcissist uses weaponized innocence against us, to which we use weaponized innocence against ourselves in order to help the narcissist. And we're thinking we're getting what we want, but no, what it's ultimately doing is keeping us silent so we don't complain or come against what the narcissist is doing. Our weaponized innocence that we engage in is actually against ourselves, which effectively allows the narcissist to get away with what they want. Hello, Haystack. How you doing? Oh, wow. Wow. Really? Me and Botox? Don't think so. Don't think that's not a healthy look. But I can go around looking like this. Yeah. Hello, everybody. Nice to see you. That should be a filter. Hmm. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I just did that. Hello, Andrea. Nice to see you. Welcome. Come on in. You're at the market table. Oh, yes, this weekend is your weekend. Happy weekend. May you have lots of sales. God bless you. Jesus, help Andrea get lots of sales. Yes, yes. This be fortuitous for her. Thank you, Lord Jesus. So, yeah. So, we who have been hurt by narcissists, we use innocence as a shield. And it's, if we like, we don't really give it a lot of thought. It's just, it just happens, you know? And we think that, oh, if we look harmless, we won't get hurt by the one we fear. And you know, it becomes it just becomes habitual. You do this enough times, it becomes habitual. And I'm thinking back on my own behavior. And yeah, I'm thinking about how, like I said, I used to I could see the mannerisms on my ex-husband, and I could see the mannerisms, and I could just gauge by the look on his face, you know, he's rolling his eyes, he's pursing his lips. And I could just tell, and his stance was aggressive. So I could just tell then that he was getting agitated. So I would just go soft. I would stop fighting for my rights, back off, and yeah, just tap into that innocence and that nice quality. Oh my gosh. So number 2, there's the emotional self-defense. When we try to assert ourselves, that's exactly it. When we try to assert ourselves, but we end up feeling powerless or ignored, we fall back on a fail-safe. The guilt tripping, the tears, or emotional fragility, just so that we can feel like we are taken seriously. Have you ever gotten frustrated and you cry because you're frustrated? Like, hey Speed, how you doing? Nice to see you. Yeah, even as adults, it's like women, men and women, like when you're in your unconditional love, you're naturally nurturing. And when you're frustrated because you can't be who you need to be and who you want to be, there's a frustration and it comes out in tears. And this is often called infantile regression syndrome. And this happens when we're traumatized, where we just resort to tears because we're so frustrated, we're so at our wits' end. But also, it's a last ditch resort where when we were little, we would cry and that would deflect the attention off of the parent, and it would shake them out of their anger or whatever they were doing, their aggressive behavior, and make us the focal point. And they would be like, stop crying, don't cry. Even if they were like, stop crying, even that attention is better than no attention. And it was like, it was the type of them trying to console us, even though it wasn't healthy. It was still their attempt to give us the attention that we needed. So innocence as a shield often functions as a psychological defense mechanism. Yeah. So, yeah. So emotion is weaponized to regain control in situations that would normally be set aside. So, number three, there's the subconscious justification. When healing hasn't taken effect, victims sometimes use their past to avoid accountability. Well, I just can't help it. I was abused as a kid, so I'm, you know, I actually had a boyfriend, who we would get into an argument and he'd be like, I've been abused. My mom abused me. I'm sorry. I'm trying, but my mom abused me. Oh yeah. And there's people who will acknowledge the abuse, but they won't take accountability for it. Hi Keshan, how you doing? Proverbs chapter 9 verse 6, forsake the foolish and live and go in the way of understanding. Hi Yaimi, how you doing? The topic is we are looking at weaponized innocence, where our innocence is weaponized by the narcissist, but also if we are not yet healing ourselves of the trauma from narcissistic abuse, we unknowingly and knowingly weaponize the innocence that I just didn't know. Oh my goodness, I've been abused. Take mercy on me. It's hard for me. I can't do this. I just don't know how. Yeah. There's this subconscious justification. Number three, when healing hasn't taken effect, we use our past to avoid accountability. I've been through so much. This becomes the playing card that prevents them from taking responsibility when confronted. So this weaponization of innocence from victims, from people who have been abused by toxic people or narcissists, this is what is called, it becomes what is called a trauma echo. It's not for power. It's manipulation to feel safe. Because when we do not yet know how to heal, there's no goal. We just know we need to heal, but we don't know how to do it. We don't know the process. We don't know what it looks like. We're stuck. Like you guys, we do get stuck. At the beginning, we're freaking stuck and we don't know what to do. And moving forward in safety or in health feels unsafe. So what do? We turn to manipulation. Excuse me, our egos gaslight ourselves and manipulate us into believing that we're doing the right thing by just trying to explain to somebody that we've been hurt and we've been, it's been so long. I've been in this narcissistic relationship for 20 years and I don't know how to get out, and he's so abusive and she's so abusive and she's gaslighting me and withholding money from me, and I just don't know how to get out, and I just don't know what to do, and even if you're out, I just don't know what to do. He controlled all the money. He took care of all the bills, and I don't know how to pay a single bill. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to manage my bank book. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do life, and I remember coming out of a relationship, an 8-year relationship with my first baby's dad, and my baby's daddy. It was a common law relationship and it lasted for 8 years. And I remember going to pay it was to pay the heat. I think it was to pay the heat, the electricity or the gas bill. And it was like he was supposed to have paid it, and I found out that he didn't pay it. This was before we broke up. So I get the bill and it's higher than it's normally is. And so I go into the office and I talk to somebody and they're like, it hasn't been paid for 2 months. And I'm like, what? And I had no money, and I was a single mom, and I was just like, what? And they were threatening to cut me off. And automatically I resorted to tears because I was so frustrated. I felt helpless and I felt unsafe. Like I just felt scared. And the woman, she put her hand on my hand and she said, "Let me give you a piece of advice. Get a lawyer." And I'll never forget that, because that was the first time I was aware. I became self-aware of how I didn't use my tears, my innocence to weaponize other people. It was just natural because I was doing this out of fear. Like I felt helpless. I felt scared. I'm like, oh no, I've got 3 kids. What am I going to do? This is October here. We're coming into the winter months here in Canada. What the frick? So, tapping into our innocence, and it sometimes it appears like we are weaponizing our innocence to manipulate others, but sometimes it's not. It's still, we're stuck in that trauma bond, we're stuck in that way of life, and we're like, our egos traumatize us. Like we are traumatizing ourselves and we don't even know it because we're blinded to our own actions, we're blinded to our thoughts, we're blinded to the cognitive dissonance, we're blinded to every freaking thing. Like we are just blind. We are blind guides, as God says. And so, like, when you've been in this position, yeah, then you can really understand who's manipulating who. You can tell when somebody is actually manipulating. But hello, is that fluff or is that because I put my coat on, my sweater on? Like before I started, I don't know if that's fluff or lights or whatever flying around. I don't know. Could be lint. I don't know. But anyways, um, you can tell when someone is trying to play you and when they're not. And I know that my tears were a cry for help. And I didn't know what to do. And some people don't know what to do. So use your discernment if you come across people like this. Sometimes they're, yeah, narcissists are manipulative, but not everybody is. So I'm just going to ask you to, please don't let the narcissist jade you and assume that everybody's out to get you and everybody's out to manipulate you. I mean, most people are, but there's still some kind-hearted people left in this world where we just need help and we just need a break, and we just, we're burned out. Like we've been manipulated and dependent on other people for so long. It's tough to go in this world on your own and do things and be responsible. Oh, so I got to pay bills. I got to take the kids to school. I got to hold down a job. I got to do my taxes. I got to budget my bank book. I got to budget enough for food and for the utilities. I got to budget for gas. I got to budget for the school bus pass. I got to budget for, the kids' meals. And hello, nothing there. Um, so it's a lot, and that's overwhelming itself. And we only gain strength by doing it. But when you don't know how, sometimes something's got to give. And sometimes it is the electric bill, or sometimes it's the kids' lunch because you don't have enough for their lunch. You don't have enough money for their lunch. Or, the kids, you got to go put the kids in daycare. So that chews up a chunk of your paycheck. So you can't put your kids in extracurricular things because there's no funds. So it's like you do what you can, and many of us victims don't see that we're doing a good job even with what we've got going on. We're managing to hold it together, but we still, compare ourselves to other people. Oh, look at that family. They've got, two incomes, and they've got their kids in this, and they got their kids in that, and they're driving their Escalades, and they're just, yeah, look at them. And why aren't I like that? That's just exasperates the problem. That just makes it worse. And unfortunately, the narcissist is very materialistic like that. So, and you can't help, like, I know myself, the narcissistic husband used to talk like that because he worked on the rigs, he made good money, and he spent the money that came in. He was always taking, he bought a new vehicle, he got a loan for a new vehicle, he got a quad, got a boat, got this, got that, he's just always spending. He never saved anything. And he never took into account that, hey, there's a mortgage, there's other bills, there's food that maybe my daughter and my wife need to buy for them while I'm up at the rig, while I get to eat my steak dinners every night. Oh, yeah, maybe I need to save some money for them. No, it wasn't like that. And so when he would come home, he'd have this attitude like he was such a big shot. And it made me feel small, because he's like, oh, there's never money for anything. And it made me feel like it was my fault, even though I was just spending the money on the bills. And I just like, his attitude made me feel so small, like I wasn't worth, like he never bought me things. And he never bought his daughter things either, just for, just because I love you gifts, none of that. And so that exasperated, where it was just like we were ignored. And it just made us feel like we were just a tag along, another mouth to feed, like we were just, like we didn't matter. And when you're coming out of that, a relationship like that, you go into this world feeling like you don't matter. Problems make you feel like you don't matter. You don't see problems as a regular thing of life. You see problems as being your fault, and they come to you because you're bad, or you deserve it, or you're nobody, and so problems happen to nobodies. The people with the Escalades who have their kids and everything, oh, it appears like they have no problems, like they're problem free. That's exactly what happens in the mind of a victim of a narcissist. You're left to take on the world's problems all on your own. And people say, well, you're responsible, life is what you make it, and God helps those who help themselves. Please don't say that, because that's not biblical, for one. And number two, that just victimizes the victims all over again. That just makes a victim feel more victimized. It's like, I want to help myself, but how do I? How do I go about in this world and help myself? Yeah, I can budget a, a bank book, but if I'm working at a 9 to 5 job that doesn't bring in enough money, and I have to, separate my paycheck in order to meet all the bills, how the heck am I? That's frustrating, as it's frustrating for everybody, but for a victim of narcissistic abuse who feels like the lack of money that's coming in is directly because of them, because they must be doing something wrong, because they must be bad, so they deserve this kind of life, but yet the narcissist, they get to make the big bucks. I had to work that out. That's why I'm saying this. I had to work that out, as most of us do. And this, some people see our struggle, and some people say, oh, you do deserve it. Look at you. Look at how you're living. Yeah. That makes it worse. So yeah, this is hard to come out of, and it's not this weaponized innocence is not always weaponized. It appears like it is, but it's more weaponized against the victim. Like we weaponize our innocence against ourselves because we don't know any different. We don't know how to live in freedom of joy and happiness and good things. So it's like there's two different kinds of people in this world. Yes, there's the people that follow God, and yes, there's the people that don't follow God, but inside of that, there's also the people who want to follow God and who are doing their best to follow God, but they've been victimized by the ungodly. And the ungodly is dictating to us how we should live, and we're trying to live by their example, and it's not working as we feel low about ourselves. And because we feel low, and because we don't know how to do things, or we're scared to do things, we're scared to move forward, that in itself is stifling, and that in itself is victimizing, and that in itself is it's our egos and what we've been conditioned to live, or how we've been conditioned to live, is manipulating our thought process, the way we feel, the way we act. So this is a huge thing. Like, this is not small potatoes. Like, you're not going to heal overnight, and you're not going to see the manipulation unless you're pretty much out of it. Unless I've been there, done that. I can see that. I can see the narcissist manipulating me a mile away. Not going to happen. No way. So this is like a weaponized innocence can be used as, well, it's becomes a trauma echo. And unfortunately, the victim, the person who is stuck in this trauma echo, they have to get themselves out. If it's not dealt with, it keeps the trauma alive and turns it into a weapon where the victim does get stuck and trapped in their own manipulations. And it becomes the little boy who cried wolf, where the victim trauma dumps on friend after friend, or the same friend over and over. And the friends don't know how to help. They've tried, but the victim says, well, I've tried that, I've done that, it doesn't work. And it seems like the victim doesn't want help. Well, they do, but first and foremost, we've got to teach people how to stop fearing, to stop being scared of their own shadow, to stop thinking that they're in a state of, surrounded by, we've got to help the victim to stop feeling like they are in a situation that is fearful when they're not. So this is why it's helpful to, even if you're feeling this way, even if you still succumb to fear sometimes, it's important for us to talk to our bodies and make our bodies feel safe, because once our bodies feel safe, then we can move forward. So what is Robert? Oh, Robert's the eagle thing. Okay, eagle thinkers. They hang around other eagle thinkers. They don't hang around chicken thinkers. That's right. That's right. So let's talk about narcissists who use weaponized innocence. They either knowingly or unknowingly do this, and they know or they don't know what kind of power it wields. So they use weaponized innocence to protect their image. This is where they say, I don't know why everybody hates me. I'm so loving and giving. Look at me. after everything I've done for them? Look at me. Yeah, we know a few people who are like that, right? And number two, they use it to gain empathy. I've tried everything to help them and they turned on me. I don't know why they won't talk to me. I was so loving and giving. I gave them a place to stay. I gave them money. I let them use my car. And they just don't want anything to do with me anymore. Yeah, we know people like that too. And they mirror the emotions to make other people look bad. I'm the one that's trying to make peace in this relationship. You're causing the drama, denying my attempts to help. And this is often done in front of therapists, in front of friends, family members. Oh, yeah, we know people like that as well, don't we? So narcissists use weaponized innocence to maintain control. They use it against their victims regularly to shut the victim down, to silence their victims. And victims use it to feel safe. It becomes a trauma reflex. And some victims do use it to, use it against the narcissist or against people to get what they want, because it's a fear response. But it doesn't mean that it's right. I'm just trying to clarify that the motives are different. Survivors or victims of abuse use weaponized innocence to let the narcissist think that they have the upper hand, just so that we can maintain our peace and sanity. So when we've healed, weaponized innocence is used, well, as a way to keep the peace, as a way to keep our peace, as a way to keep our sanity intact. It prevents an interaction with the narcissist is what it does. When you play dumb, just how David, when he was about to be caught by a certain pagan king, he started drooling. Drool started coming out of his mouth, and he pretended he was crazy. And so they didn't want anything to do with him. That's weaponized innocence. That's playing dumb. That's playing the crazy. So, not that we should do that. That's extreme. But I mean, David did that because he was king. If the king of Israel was caught, that would have been disaster for Israel. So here, the thing is, we're not pretending, okay? Our truth is our shield, and we don't have to fake being innocent or naive. We master stoicism that allows our innocence to be our boundary. So here's how that looks like. Our innocence is our discernment. Our innocence once was thought of as the narcissist thought that we were gullible. But it's not gullible, because we believed people we believed people when they said they were who they said they were. But now our innocence is no longer blind. Our innocence comes packing wisdom, discernment, knowledge. So now we can see in the eyes, we can see in the facial expressions, the body language. We know fake from fact now. So we go into a relationship or an interaction with this innocence. I don't, there was a time where I would say, everybody's a narcissist until proven otherwise. But that's not the way of the Lord. That isn't the way of the Lord. We just know that everybody has narcissistic qualities. Okay. We take people at face value. I'm expecting you to be honest with me. And, if you're not honest with me, I'll find that out. It doesn't mean that I have to be hurt by it. So we have nothing to gain. And we don't have to prove our innocence to anybody anymore. Like, I just, I am who I am. And if the narcissist doesn't want to accept me, well, I'm okay with that. Like, no longer am I trying to prove to the narcissist, accept me, love me, you know? Now it's like, if you don't accept me, fine, it's okay. My innocence is no longer my weakness that they can manipulate, and neither is yours. Your innocence is now a weapon used to, stand against them. And it's not really a weapon because you're not wielding it. You're just being who you need to be. You're just stoic. You're just, You listen. You don't take anything personally. And read between the lines if you need to. You walk with God, and God will tell you, this person isn't being up and up with you. And you don't need, God is all the proof that you need. You don't need the person to prove. You don't need a real life experience. Your spirit tells the truth. So you're trusting yourself enough. Before, with this, why our innocence was weaponized is because we didn't trust ourselves, because we didn't know the light inside of us. But now that we do, we know that the light, who is God, is in us. We let God lead the way. And so we don't need to defend ourselves. We just let the narcissist or the manipulator expose themselves. Because, the more quiet you stay quiet, the more the narcissist has to talk. And the more they talk, the more they lie. And the more they lie, the more they lie. How can you tell a narcissist is lying? When they open their mouths and they from hello. So our peace agitates the wicked. They can't stand it. They squirm. So this is weaponized innocence that is turned back on them as a truth bomb. It's crystal clear. It's clarity. There's no need to engage. The narcissist can approach us and, hi, sweetheart, how are you? And you're just like, well, aren't you going to say anything? No. Do I need to? I didn't think that was worth acknowledging. I'm not your sweetheart, so, well, you don't have to be such a, that's your opinion. Stoicism is your secret weapon. It's what protects your peace. It protects your innocence. You're not sinning. You're not giving in to the narcissist or bowing down. So this happens when you heal, because your innocence is used as non-resistance. Before, your innocence was used to force you to give in, to become compliant and pliable to the narcissist's ways. But now your innocence is, it's used as non-resistance. It's you discover that who you are in this innocence cannot be changed. It cannot be tamed. And you're accepting of who you are. Other people say, oh, you're too nice, you're too caring, you're too sweet. And so you think that that's a bad thing. So you try to change, but you try to change who you are. And that's where the problem arises, where you feel uncomfortable. So self-healing is about returning to the state of being nice and kind, but yet there's strength behind it now, because you see the evil people for who they are, and you're just like, no, you're not going to try and change me. I'm only nice. You think I'm nice because you think that that's a vulnerability, but no, I'm not going to change. I'm not going to think my niceness needs to change because you think it's bad. No, I hear the words you're saying. Oh, you're so nice, which, I can hear the condescending tone, whereas before I couldn't, but now I can. And that tells me, oh, you want me to say, oh, but it's okay. I'm nice, but what do you need? Like my innocence would be weaponized in the way of, me thinking that, oh, you think I'm nice and you think I'm a bad person because I'm nice. Well, you haven't trusted the right kind of people. Oh, let me lend myself to you to prove that I'm trustworthy. I am a nice person and I can be trusted. No, I'm done with that. I'm done being manipulated. So it's like you stop reacting. Oh, you're so nice. Thank you. Oh, you're so kind. Thank you. Oh, you're so kind and compassionate. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Whereas before, we would go, oh, thank you for noticing. And then we would lean in. And so, what about you? Tell me about yourself. And they'd be like, oh, you're so charming. You're so sweet. You're so beautiful. You're so handsome. Thank you. I'm liking how this conversation is going. Do you think maybe, I've got maybe 15 minutes to spare. Do you think we can continue this conversation maybe over dinner? Maybe on Friday? I'd like to get to know you better. Those days are gone. Like, seriously. You can see it now, can't you? You stop reacting. You stop playing life by their rules because chaos begets chaos. And you hang on to your peace. When someone says, oh, you're so sweet and you're so pretty, you're so handsome, thank you. Not, oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Your stillness triggers them. Their chaos used to trigger you. And that was used, like their crazy making, their, flip-flopping from love bombing to stoicism to, devaluation. That was all meant to trigger you. But now your stoicism, your stillness triggers them. And they're left thinking, what are they thinking when they try to move in on you? That's some good work there. You're you're a go-getter. I just can't believe your boss would say that to you or whatever. You deserve better, blah, 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 and you might have given in to that at one time and said, yeah, my boss is a real jerk. But no, you're just, you know what? I did the best that I could. That's all I could give. If it's not good enough, that's on him. It's fine. And they're like, what? You're not bothered? But I would be all right. I would be putting in my resignation. No, it is what it is. It's fine. And so they try harder to get you to react. If I were you, I'd switch jobs. I'd be looking for a new job. Why don't you go look for a new job? There's a new job down the corner. Why don't you go apply there? If I were you, I would apply there. Why don't you do that? You're crazy not to do that. You better do that. I mean, I would. It's more money anyway. So why don't you do that? Well, that's good advice. I'll take it under advisement. Thank you. That's it. Instead of giving your emotion away and saying, yeah, no, The more peaceful you are, the weaker the narcissist becomes. And you watch, when you say, I'll take it under advisement, thank you, they won't bring it up again, because they're not looking for you to take their, well, they're looking for you to take their advice, yes, but they're wanting you to emotionally take their advice. They want you to make an emotional decision, because with us, when we make emotional decisions that are emotional, chaotic decisions, what happens? Chaos begets chaos. Then the narcissist gets to witness us falling on our face. It's like if we said, yeah, I think I'm going to take your advice. I'm going to, I'm just going to quit on the spot. I'm going to go get that job. Well, then when you're emotional like that, that's what the narcissist remembers, and they're going to ask you next time, did you take that job? Yeah. And it sucks because I didn't get hired and I quit my job the same day. Like that boss that was, that reamed me out or whatever, didn't give me credit for that job that I did. Well, I quit on the spot, and that same day I went and tried to go get hired with that job, and they never called me back. That's exactly what the narcissist is looking for, your failure. They're not going to go, oh, that's so bad. They're going to do this duping delight and smirk like, yeah. So you know who you are. You don't need to convince anybody. You are at peace with yourself. And when you're at peace with yourself, and that's what we try to do on this channel, we try to take a look at our egos so that we are at peace with ourselves. So when you're at peace, the narcissist cannot destabilize you. They cannot accept you. They'll find somebody else. See, you know who they are as you know who you are not. You are not them, and they are not you. And they may say, they may tell us, Shannon, she's so boring. She's not the life of the, she used to be the life of the, but she's not anymore. And Shannon, she's just so stuck in her job. She's just got her nose to the grind. She just, she's one of those workers you just want to leave alone on the job. Like she's the, teacher's pet, so to speak, the brown noser. And that's probably what the narcissist would say about you if they can't get it in. But that's okay, because your integrity will stand, and it's going to stand in the face of fear. The truth doesn't need to be defended. Fear does. And what ends up happening is when you start healing and no longer weaponize the innocence that you hold, and you return to the innocence that is of God, that loving, unconditional nature that you've been giving to other people, you start giving it to yourself. That's when you return to yourself. When you reclaim your innocence, your inner peace, just resounds. Like you return home, you feel whole. I mean, you start living by certain standards that are not dictated by your ego or anyone's ego, so that, that's the thing. When you're no longer being ruled by your ego, how can the narcissist's ego rule you then? They can't. So peace, your innocence, where there's your true innocence, where you start valuing the innocence that has become weaponized, when you start valuing that innocence. And that's why it's weaponized, because we don't value it, because we don't see. You can't see what you can't see. And if you can't see it, you can't know it. So how can you value what you can't see? But once you start seeing that innocent quality about you, that makes you you. Once you start valuing that, your peace comes to you, because peace is self-mastery. And this is something that the narcissist can never attain. They're running from themselves. So in our victimization, our innocence was a vulnerability that made us easy targets because we couldn't see that we were innocent. We couldn't see ourselves. We couldn't see ourselves as who we truly are. We couldn't see these beautiful, loving, giving qualities in ourselves. They were told to us that they're wrong. It's wrong to be nice. It's wrong to be compassionate. It's wrong to give to other people. Just give to the narcissist, but nobody else, and definitely not give to yourself. You know, it's like the narcissist, you show them love and they're just, and we end up doing that to ourselves. We need to be loving to ourselves, and we end up going, you know, like, that's dumb. Why would we want to show ourselves love? Like, love is just stupid. Love is dumb. No. Love is a beautiful quality, especially when it's unconditional love. Oh my gosh. But see, again, the narcissist, we know they don't have empathy, so they can't see or view love. So they weaponize it. So you're not a victim. Let's say that right now. You may have been victimized, but you're not a victim. And you don't have to play that role. That's the role the narcissist puts you in, forces you to believe that you are a victim, forces you to believe that you can't get out, as the narcissist surrounds you in all ways with fear. So you're a captive to fear as you embody fear. And that's what keeps narcissism, even when they're not with you, even when they've discarded you, that's what keeps the narcissist living rent-free in your life, in your head. I mean, it's their influence that keeps you stifled. It's their influence that keeps you, that prevents you from living your good life. So they need you ignorant to your own innocence, so that they can weaponize it against you and they can flourish. Like, even after they're gone in your life, like, you're stuck in rumination, you're stuck in fear years after they have left. That's the ultimate goal. See, the narcissist does not get into a relationship with you to stay. The relationship is the Trojan horse. And it's what comes after. When your defenses are down, it's what comes after is they want what happens after to be the lasting effect. They want to have a lasting negative effect on you. So what is peace? Because peace is the antidote for this weaponized innocence, for their fear. Peace is the antidote for the fear that they leave you with, or what they install in you. So contrary to what we might think, peace is not the absence of conflict. Peace is the absence of the attachment to conflict. See, when we're attached to conflict, that's fear. Fear is the attachment that we have to conflict. But when you detach yourself to fear, you're not going to fear conflict. Even though conflict is around you, you're not attached to it in fear. So you're not going, oh my gosh, oh, you're not. Your fear is what gives attention to the conflict. So when you're detached, you're peaceful and you can see the conflict, but because you're peaceful and you're not attached to it, you can see, you know, like you're objective to the conflict. You have this sense of objectivity towards the conflict, and you can see your way out with God's help, of course. See, the storms and problems still exist, but they no longer negatively affect you because peace is the permanent eye of the storm. Remember, we talked about that the other day, that you are the eye of the storm. And the narcissist and conflict around you is the storm. But there's permanent peace in the eye of the storm. That's who you are. And peace looks like this, that you stop needing people to agree with you. You stop needing people to validate you. You stop needing people to understand you. You stop needing people to accept you, like you, honor you. Because peace is achieved within. Peace is not passive. It's control under your own power. Peace is, again, the absence of fear. And peace is self-discipline. It's self-mastery. When you know yourself, how can you fear yourself? And that's what fear is. Fear is the fear of not knowing yourself. That's how we fear other things. We may think that we have a fear of heights. No, we have a fear of knowing ourselves, of knowing how we would manage ourselves in a situation where we were high above something. So we don't know how we would conduct ourselves. We fear falling, but you think that you would fall. Would you make yourself fall from say if you climbed a tree and you were you had fear of heights, you're not fearing the height itself. You're fearing what you may do because you do not know yourself, as you do not trust yourself. You don't know that you're going to cling on to for dear life. You're not thinking about that when you're thinking of yourself climbing the tree and you're high in that, sitting on that limb. You think, I'm just somehow going to fall. But you're not thinking that you've got hands and you've got arms that you can wrap around the limb. You can wrap your legs around the limb. You can get yourself pretty safe in a tree. You can keep yourself safe in a tree. You can prevent your falling. But we don't think that because we're not thinking about ourselves, because we forget ourselves. We've abandoned ourselves because we don't know ourselves. You see how that works? Same with fire. You got a fear of fire. You don't know how you're going to operate and conduct yourself in a fire. You just automatically think you're going to get hurt. Well, you don't think that you're going to engage your mind and your brain and put your common sense to the test? Or do you automatically think your brain is just going to lose itself and you're just going to put your hand over an open flame and burn yourself? Like, that's not even logical. But see, because you don't know yourself, you don't trust yourself, because your ego says you've got to be put in this position to know for sure. Would you really fall? It's the enemy again all over the place. Are you sure you're going to burn to death? Are you sure you're going to really fall if you go in? So let's try it. Let's test it out. So then you have to be the daredevil and climb that tree. But it's like, no. I'm not really scared of heights. I'm scared of falling from a height. I'm scared of being put in a position of falling from a high place. Okay, that makes sense. But being scared of heights in general, when you can, people can fall off a ladder, but it's usually human error. So if you take all the steps to keep yourself safe and climbing up the ladder, putting the ladder up and make sure it's, safe, and it's, it's leaning against the surface properly and it's sturdy for you to climb up, and you're not running up, you're hanging onto the sides of the ladder, you've got yourself properly balanced, you're walking up each step carefully. How are you going to fall? But what if a wind comes? That's illogical. Let's just keep common sense. Let's just keep ourselves rooted in ourselves, okay? Like, that's the thing. We fear ourselves, and that's how we start fearing other things, is because initially we fear ourselves. We're not thinking about ourselves managing through these things in a healthy way. We just totally abandon ourselves, and we make the 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 fear of the disaster the focal point, but we're not thinking about how we, hey, I'm a common sense kind of gal. I'm pretty practical. I know how to do things. We just abandon our abilities and toss ourselves to the wind, and we forget that, and we just make the fear of dogs, oh my gosh, the fear of spiders, oh my gosh. We abandon ourselves, and we make the fear of spiders more important than we are. It's like, I have a fear of scorpions. I think and I don't know why I fear them. I think it's they're ugly. They're ugly. They look like lobsters, air breathing lobsters. Like, I don't like lobsters either. They're ugly. But I don't really fear them. It's just, I don't think that they're pretty to look at. And yeah, I fear that they're dangerous. Yeah, they're venomous. Yeah. But am I going to put myself in a situation where I'm going to say, "Oh, scorpion, please sting me"? No, I'm going to be like, "You're dangerous. I have a healthy respect for you, so, and I love myself, so I'm going to stay away from you." Like, my common sense is kicking in here that, Shannon, it's illogical for you to be fearful of them. So that in itself is helping me to rid my fear of these things, because it's illogical, because I'm not abandoning myself anymore. I used to be so afraid of them, even the talk about them would freak me out. Like, I get this thing in my throat and I feel like I want to gag, like, just oh. And Scarlett, when she was younger, she used to bug me about it. Mom, there's a scorpion. I'm like, oh, where? Now it's like I'm talking about them, and I can picture it in my mind, and I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm good, because I'm beginning to know myself. I'm knowing my fears, and my fears aren't even fearful, because once I know myself, I can't fear anything, because I know myself and I love myself. I'm not going to put myself in dangerous situations. And if I am put in dangerous situations, I know I'm going to survive, because I know I trust myself. I'm going to do what I can and engage in common sense practices and turn to God for help. So I'm good. I'm good. And so are you. So the enemy tries to get us to fear, and how we fear is we can only fear things when we abandon ourselves. That's the ultimate fear. We fear ourselves. And we fear for our safety, because we don't recognize that God is with us. And we have common sense. And the enemy tries to, weaponize that innocence of knowing ourselves. So you guys are talking amongst yourselves. So Yami says, knowledgeable Christian women are absolutely badasses, and so are men. Exactly. Yeah. So, yeah. So, peace is self-discipline. So when you have peace in your heart, you're not fearing yourself, and the enemy can't use anything against you. I mean, your ego can't use anything against you anymore. There's the gaslighting ego is done. And the narcissist can't gaslight you anymore either, because you're under your own power. Your peace is the prize, and the peace comes from God, and God will not, no weapon formed against you shall prosper, because God is with you. Peace is not passive. Peace is self-discipline. It's self-mastery without the indulgence, and it doesn't force outcomes. It's when you see chaos and you no longer choose chaos. Excuse me. You see you see people panicking, and it's like you're not going to go run into the you know the herd and be panic stricken. You're just going to stay outside of the herd and just silently observe, because again, you are the eye of the storm, and the eye of the storm cannot naturally become part of the storm. So peace holds wisdom, security, authority, and caring. Peace is a state of being where everything that once triggered you no longer does. Understanding replaces reaction. And how you understand is just by observe. And in that quiet place, that's where peace is. It's surrender. You surrender to God, to yourself, to God, as you come home to you. You become the child that you always were, the child that God requires you to be, innocent, as you're taking your place back, your peace back, as when you were a child, you were peaceful. You didn't judge anything. You weren't fearful of anything. Before somebody told you what fear was, you didn't know what it was, and you challenged it. Like, you didn't, because you didn't know what it was, you just went ahead and did what you wanted to do without fear. It was just investigating. You saw a grasshopper, you picked it up, and it bounced, jumped in your hand, it felt weird, and and then you tried again, and it's jumping in your hand, and look, Mom, what I got. What you got there, dear? Ah! And then your mom's all freaking out. So because of their fear, they teach you how to fear. But you're not scared of frogs or grasshoppers or snakes, and you come home with a snake. Mom, look what I got. And your mom's freaking out. Somebody taught you fear. You were not fearful as a child, and that's what this all brings us back to. Healing from narcissistic abuse is to look at the fear and see how your innocence was weaponized against you, as the narcissist tried to get you to forsake your innocence. So you actually become the child that God wants you to. It's not being naive. It's just being innocent, where you're no longer judging anything. You're just observing, and you're that quiet, calm, peaceful state while everything around you is the storm. And I'm going to leave this with you because this just came to me. And no. I'm going to leave it for tomorrow. It's part of what this is, just a segue from our Bible study tomorrow. Yeah, you're one with God in the eye of the storm. And wherever the eye of the storm goes, the eye of the storm takes authority in calmness, doesn't it? Just hang on to that, and we'll visit that tomorrow in our Bible study. It's going to be a good one. Like, I'm forever changed. I am forever changed with this information that I'm going to share with you in our Bible study tomorrow. It just, for me, this knowledge, and it's biblical knowledge, it's bringing the Old Testament to the New and seeing the authority of God through Jesus, and how Jesus is in you and you have the authority of God in you, and we don't recognize because of our innocence is weaponized. And but when you know yourself and you know who you are, nothing touches the eye of the storm, does it? Nothing. Like, whatever is in the eye of the storm becomes peace as well. And everything is still in the eye of the storm. So wherever the eye of the storm goes, there is peace. That's God, and that's God in you. So this is amazing. Hello, Joe. How you doing? I got triggered this morning because I wanted to wash my camper and couldn't without going against the narc's wishes. This is after spending hundreds of dollars in her home repairs. I am livid. I'll get over it just like everything else. What about washing it when she's not home? She'll never know. Washing it when she's not around. You know, perfect time is when she goes to church. You know, you don't have to use soap and water. You can use like an economic or environmental free, something that's good for the environment. You can use a wash like that, and, like, you do what you got to do. You're paying rent there, right? So it's just a form of control. What is she going to do after, is she going to find out? So, but you do what you got to do. But, if, you could say, if you're not going to allow me to wash my camper, then I want reimbursement. Like, either take, a couple months rent off for the work that I did for you on your stairs and in your house, or, you reimburse me that money. Or pull up the work that you did. Pull it up. That's what a contractor would do when they don't get compensated, when they don't get their money. They pull up their work. So but I know that pulling up your work would probably cause her to say you're out. I could see that. So I can see where you're at a catch-22. But this, whatever, this, if this is what we do as Christians. We're told to just let this go, right? Okay, fine. Let it go. Fine. We're to keep the peace. This is your house. This is where you've got to stay, so you don't want to upset the bear. I get it. And in regular circumstances, if you had somewhere to go, yeah, your calling card would be pulling up the the work that you did and leaving that as forget you kind of thing, and then leave, get the heck out of Dodge. I get that. But because you've got to think about yourself in this situation too. So, all right. So now not to do any more work for her. She's on her own now. That's the bottom line. You're there paying rent. You're there to take care of you, not to take care of her. She wants something done, she can hire a contractor. She wants something done, she can ask her family members for help. You're not obligated. That's the point. You're no longer obligated. Wipe your hands clean of her. Have little interaction with her as possible. And you take care of if you need to wash your camper, wash it with just water if you have to. Whatever. If she's going to complain because you're using soap, then just use water. But you know what? Certainly do what you got to do for you. But she's showing you who she is. So under any other circumstances, yeah, you might be able to get away with, washing your camper regardless, pulling out the work that you did, yeah, asking her to reimburse you for the money that you lost in helping her, or asking her for a little bit leeway, taking a couple of months rent off. Those would be good when you're dealing with a regular individual, but you're dealing with somebody who is hell-bent on controlling you. So what do? You pull back your kindness. You pull back your compassion. You don't owe her anything. You do not owe her anything. From here on in, you owe her the rent that you promised to pay. That's your obligation. Anything else, befriending her, giving her sound advice, communicating with her, being compassionate and nice to her on a friendly basis. You don't owe her your attention. You don't owe her your time. You don't owe her your money outside of rent. You don't owe her anything. And that's it. Now it's business. You're in a business relationship where she is doing you a service, where you are staying at her place, paying her rent. That's it. That's business. Anything else, you don't owe her anything. You don't owe her anything. And as hard as this is to, but I got to be kind to her. Yeah, say hi to her. But don't engage with her. If she wants to say, what's the matter with you? You're not so talkative. I just don't feel like talking. Or I got nothing to say. That's your motive. Like, that's your go-to line. I got nothing to say. You got nothing to say? Usually you're always so talkative. No, I got nothing to say. Well, what's the matter with you? Are you mad at me? I got nothing to say. Well, what's the matter with you? Are you going to come with me to church? Or are you going to finish the stairs? Are you going to... I got nothing to say. I got somewhere to be right. Well, where you got to go? I got somewhere to go. It's my business. Oh, aren't you ever a snippy one today? And just don't say anything. Just walk out. She wants the argument. Just give her nothing. Give her no emotion. Nothing for her to use against you. Nothing. Exactly. I will get my house in order and leave. Exactly. That would be the best thing for you to do. It's going to be a rough winter, but I plan to leave in the spring. Good for you. Good for you. Romans 13 verse 8. Owe no man anything but to love one another, for he that loveth another hath fulfilled the law. Amen. Awesome. So I feel your frustration. I've been in a situation similar, Joe, and it was nuts. And I will never do it again. Never, never, never do it again. I would rather be homeless than to be at the mercy of someone who, you owe in that way. My father-in-law said something. This is a story. My father-in-law never told me this. This was my ex-husband and his dad. My ex-husband was like 18 and was working for a contractor, a builder, somebody who built homes. And the builder of the owner of this company said to, my ex-husband, who was 18 at the time, he said, if you work for me, I can get you into a house. I can build you a house, and we'll use it as a show home for a couple of years, but it's yours if you just work for me. You can I'll give it for you for cheap. You put a down payment on it, and it'll be yours. And the best advice that my father-in-law gave his own son was, you get into a situation like that, that guy's going to own you for life. There's always a catch. And I found myself in a situation like that, and I remembered, even though those words weren't said to me, I remembered them. And I'm just like, yep, this person that I got involved with, you know, I thought they were doing me a favor, but there was a hidden agenda and there was a lie that was exposed and didn't come out until after. And I ended up getting hurt financially because of it. And I just felt like, yep, that person thought that I was obligated to them for life. And they even tried to use that, I look what I did for you and everything. And I just like threw it back at them and said, no, you lied to me. You had me believe that you had my best interest at heart, but you lied to me. You lied all the way through this relationship or situationship. You were lying through it. You led me to believe one thing, but no, you set me up because you wanted a life partner that would take care of you when you were sick, and you knew you were sick before we met. And you pretended to help me, but no, you wanted me around to help you and be your nursemaid. I saw it through that really quickly. And but it ended up hurting me, and I'm still paying for it. So yeah, those words my father-in-law said, you get into a situation where it appears like it's a good deal for you, but it's only a good deal for that other person, and they will own you for life. So it's and that's and that's the narcissist using our vulnerabilities, because we don't yet, like, I got myself into a situation like this because I didn't yet know myself. I was starting to, but I didn't fully know myself, and there was a lot of fear there. And that's not an excuse, but that's how we become, targeted, because the narcissists take advantage of our weaknesses. And our weaknesses it's not the kindness. It's not the compassion. It's not the love. It's the lack of love that we have towards ourselves, the lack of strength that we have, the ability to do something on our own. We may be good in doing things on our own in one area, but we're not yet strong in doing things on our own in other ways. And so that's, so we gotta know ourselves. And to know ourselves is what it means to know Jesus, because Jesus is inside of us. So our war is not against flesh and blood. Exactly, Amy. Exactly. Yeah. So narcissists are like clown mirrors, is a metaphor that can be interpreted in several ways, primarily relating to their use of mirroring tactics and their presentation of a self. Yeah. Spiritual warfare. Exactly. So Joe, you do what you got to do and just keep yourself safe. But I would, you don't, you do what you need to do in your situation. But I'm just, it might be in your best interest to just take this, what you've done for this person and your goodwill. That's it. No more goodwill. The money bags is shut off. Like anything else that this person wants done, have it written. If you decide that you want to help her, have everything done in writing, and have, what, I will help you, but I expect this amount of money, and get her to sign it and mark it down, and have her recognize that she promises to pay you for the work that you did. Like from now on, get everything down in writing, and don't leave anything up to just her word. And if she wants your help, it's going to come at a price. And having things done for her for free, that's over, because she doesn't want that from you. Like anything that she expects, that like if you ask her to do something for you, is probably not free, is it? It comes at a price, you know? So yeah. So keep yourself safe, hold on to your sanity, and distance yourself from this person. She's toxic. Toxic, 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 toxics, toxic. Sometimes you got to give toxic people the gift of goodbye. Exactly. I mean, that's what I did at my own expense, where, you know, I had enough, and I just severed the relationship. And I just, you know, I just severed it, and I just, no. And now they find themselves into trouble, and I'm just like, nope. I'm 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 sorry that they're in trouble. I'm sorry that they're, you know, but I'm not going back. I'm not gonna, because no, I'm not, no, no, no. Because you'll never be able to get ahead, and you'll undo what you have accomplished. The narcissist, they hold you back. That's the long and short of it. The narcissist, toxic people, they hold you back. They prevent you from shining, as that's what the enemy knows, who you are. And once you start knowing who you are, and you get back involved with the narcissist and take them back because, oh, you feel obligated or you feel sorry for them, they make you go back to who you used to be. And that's a long uphill climb. And I've been there, not doing that again. So I feel for you. So yeah, you know what you got to do, Joe. And you know what? Whatever you do, we're supporting of you. We support you. Like, you do what you got to do for you, and nobody's going to judge you for it. Seriously. You know, we're here to help you through it. Whatever it is, we're here. We're your support system. We're family. So let God lead you. Exactly. Let God lead you. And he will. So that's what I got for you guys today on the weaponized innocence. And thinking about it has, you know, made me realize the ickiness, the darkness that I was living in, and I didn't know I was living in. You can't see that you're living in darkness, like, until you're out of it, you know. And reflecting on this just kind of makes me, you know, those dark movies that maybe you've seen and watched, where, you know, I would think of, I've never watched these movies. What is it? The Walking Dead or something like that. I've never watched that movie, but it, to me, it just has a dark feel about it. Hello, Blue. How you doing? Shalom. Nice to see you. Or, you know, some sort of movie that, like Natural Born Killers. I saw that movie when I wasn't saved, and that was a dark movie. You know, I think movies that deal with unaliving people, espionage, drugs, you know, hurting people sexually or beating them up, you know, like that one with Quentin Tarantino movies. Those are dark movies. Those have a dark mood, like a very deep, dark mood around these kinds of movies. And I hate watching these kind of movies. because they make me feel dark and icky, like I have to go bathe myself in bleach, you know, and that's what I kind of feel like after this, you know, thinking about from where I used to be to where I am now. I can feel that dark nature, and I can feel how we were walking in darkness and now we're walking in light. I can see that. Like, I can see how God has brought us into the light, and we can actually see and feel the light, that we are one with the light. The healing allows us to see and feel the light, and it feels so good. So thank you, Jesus. Please bathe us in your light. Cleanse us with your light, because his light is cleansing. Let no weapon formed against us ever prosper. Thank you, Jesus. So I can't remember if I ever did see that movie, Shannon, with the blonde dingy guy from Cheers. Yeah, yeah. And the girl who was in it, I don't like that actress. And she hasn't been in movies for a long time now. She's stepped away, I guess, from acting, but I never liked her. To me, she has a dark nature to her character. I don't, there's something about her that just seems dark, and I just, I don't, dingy, just cringy. So, yeah. But another dark movie would be the one, what's that 70s movie where the guys, 3 or 4 guys, go on a canoeing trip, and something about a deer. So the title, Deer, there's the word deer in the title. That was a dark movie too. And the guys, they're canoeing, and they come across some other men who are like hillbillies, or, you know, people who are not good people, and something happens to these 4 men. That's all I'm gonna say. And it's a very dark one, and I don't like those movies. They just I guess it's a spiritual thing that I feel like. It's just Deliverance. Thank you. That's the movie. It's very dark, spiritually dark, and it just feels like it's a shadow over my light, and I don't like it. I don't like that feeling. Like, yeah. So that's what I feel like with narcissists, that they bring about this shadow and the life that, like, like, okay, I'll tell you that, you know, when you're living with a narcissist, you may have a fancy home, but a lot of them do not have fancy homes, and they don't care about the homes that they live in. Like, when I got married to my husband, we had a house built for us that his parents helped us get into. They lent us $20,000 to put a down payment on the house. And we lived there for 3 years until my father-in-law died. And then somehow my ex, he wanted to move, which, you know, okay. And we moved out of province. And I didn't want to move into this house. I didn't. It was a fixer-upper, and he promised me, oh, we'll fix it up. Like, the the shingles were curling, like on the house, like they were curling and crumbling. And inside the house, it was just, it needed repair and renovation. And none of that happened except for I had to fight with him to shingle the house. But that happened 4 years after living there. And nothing in that house was done. It was a 1978 home, and everything in it was basically original, except for the toilets and the sink. But there was so much that needed to be done, and so much money invested into that house needed to be put into that house. And it was a dark house. Like, it was a dark house. And which made it more dark was that this was a haunted house. But we didn't see much of the inside of the haunting because we filled it with God. There was prayer, and I did Bible studies with Scarlett. We talked about God. I was in the Word of God 24/7 basically. And what am I, okay, sorry, it's just the way these things are up here. I didn't like that. It started looking like I had horns or something. So what I'm trying to say is that, a lot of narcissists, they don't care about the home life. As my ex invested all his money into him, his cars, his vehicles, his restoring of cars, his quad, his, boat, his alcohol, cigarettes, his trips, whatever. It was all, his money was spent basically on him and not the house. And even though I found God there was still the overshadowing of darkness in that place. And yesterday I was watching TikTok, and somebody posted a comment on dating, and it was, share with the group, like share with us something about, what made you not go on a second date when the guy took you to their house. What made you not go back? And I was reading all this stuff, and I was just like, some of not some, it's everything was dark. It was dark and disgusting. And I'm just like, what kind of people are we meeting? Like narcissists don't care about their living quarters. And I've had experience with that. I was doing the renovations in the house, and I was like, they just don't do, like, he lived out of his rig bags. He really didn't put anything in his dressers. He just lived out of his rig bags, and left his rig bags in the mudroom. Like, he didn't, like, I was just like, narcissists really don't care about how they live outside of the public. Like they have to have the nice car, they have to have the nice, look good and smell good for outward appearance, but in their own home, they're very dark people. And that's, I think, attaches itself to us when, through trauma and through intimacy, as their spiritual attachments attached to us, and we get that. And so we do need Jesus. We do need God. And when we start seeing God and we start seeing the light, we don't want to go back to that. We reflect, and we're just like, ooh, ick. And it's not like, it's like recognizing the darkness. It's not, it's like some of these narcissists really don't mind living in squalor. Really. They don't mind living that way. And I just like, what would they do without us? Like, they would, they're on a, they self-destruct. And I just like, I'm so glad. I am so thankful for this channel. I am so thankful for you guys. I'm so thankful for God. I'm so thankful that we get to see the light. And I'm just thinking of how far I've come. Like, I just like, whoa, whoa, I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back. Like, get me away from these narcissists. Get me away. Like, I don't want. Like, I know, you know, when you're traumatized, there are certain behaviors, you know, there is a natural tendency to not take care of yourself when you're depressed and stuff like that. But I'm talking about like not caring. Like, I've worked in a hoarder's home. I've lived in a hoarder's home. I I've seen like, now I'm thinking, okay, why is it that my foster mom had her own kids and myself do the chores? Because she didn't want to do it. Because narcissists probably think that chores are beneath them. I know I've met somebody who actually thinks like that actually dropped things on the floor and never picked them up because it was beneath him. Like, he just thought, well, it's beneath me to pick things up off the floor. So things stayed on the floor. And I'm just like thinking, okay, my mom hoarded shoes and clothes and jewelry. And her house was nice and clean, not because she cleaned anything. It was because her kids, we did it. I mean, once we were of age, like when we were younger, yeah, she cleaned and we had a tidy house. But it was like her clean was, see, that's the thing, narcissists go either way. Either it's extreme filthy or extremely clean, where it has to be like spotless, like white gloves, white spotless kind of thing. And that's how my foster mom was. She was the white glove spotless. Like, if I missed something, she would come around and inspect whether I vacuumed the cushions on the couch or moved the couch and vacuumed underneath. And it's like, nobody has been in this room for a week. How is, you know, it didn't matter. It still needed to be vacuumed. And she would find crumbs for me to, oh, there's crumbs, you know, in the little indent where the couch leg was in the carpet. Somehow crumbs were there, and she's like, you missed a spot. So it wasn't just vacuum this over again. It was, since you missed a spot, you got to vacuum everything over again. That's how my foster mom was. So it's like, they go either way. And even in that family, I'm feeling now that I'm reflecting, and now that we're touching God and seeing him for who he is and loving him and adopting his love and his character, I can see the ickiness in everything. Like, in my past, like, I can see the ick factor, the ickiness, the darkness. Wow. From darkness to light. Wow. Wow. Thank you, Jesus. Yes, it was. It's exactly that. That's what everybody says that I tell this story to. Exactly that. And that's okay. I'm not a clean freak by any means, but I do like a clean house. But I'm just not like, you know, it's like dishes can stay in the sink, you know, until at the end of the day. I don't need to wash the dish, you know, every time I use it. It sits in like, I like a clean house, and I do clean, but I'm not, you know, and I do have socks on the floor sometimes. It's okay. It's okay. But yeah. Wow. Wow. I think I'm going to go clean my toilets, make sure my bathroom's clean. I just like, wow. Yeah, lots to think about. But anyways, you definitely see from the darkness from where you were living and to the light. God shines the light on the darkness, and the darkness can't understand what it is as it and why. So if it can't understand what it is, then of course it's not going to be able to understand the light. So I'm deep cleaning today, says Resistor. Yeah. Hi, Dennis. Nice to see you. Welcome. Hey, Angel. Nice to see you. So, yeah, Saturdays are usually a clean day anyways, right? But, yeah, it's just interesting to see how far we've come. And you can't see the darkness when you're in it, but you can definitely see the darkness when you're exposed to the light. And that's the metaphor of life. We go through trauma because trauma allows us to see the light. And when we're in the light, we actually see how bad the trauma was. As when you're in it, when you're in the trauma and you keep going to it, you just like, it's not so bad. It's okay. It's bearable. I'm living. I'm okay. So because I'm still here, it must be okay. I mean, no, when we're, you know, with the light, when we're exposed to the light and we look back on where we came from, we're not just seeing how far. Like the other day I said, you look back on your life to see how far you've come. You look back on your life to see how bad it really was. And you're like, I survived that. I survived that. I survived that. Only we survived through Jesus Christ. Just because we didn't have a knowledge that God was with us then, we see that we survived because God is true to his word. I will never leave you nor forsake you. I'm going to leave you there. So tune into this video tonight at 10 o'clock p.m. Thank you for watching. Thank you for showing up. And it's nice to see everyone. And for those of you who are new, welcome to the family. We are here 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 10 o'clock in the evening, Eastern Standard Time. We are here every day, live, twice a day for you. I am a peer support mentor, so if you want to talk, you can get in on a 1-hour chit chat with me. The link is in the description or in the chat, and we can just talk it out. I'm here to listen and here to offer you a different perspective. Not here to judge, I'm here to support you. So we take a look at the psychological, the scientific, and scriptural. I'm not going to, thump you over the head with scripture, but we will bring God into the details to help you understand that God is in the details of everything. And, if you guys want to support this channel, support yourself with this channel, that helps me. That's why I'm here, to help you guys. And I want to see you guys healed. I want to see you guys in heaven. That's where we're going. There's no doubt about it. God is taking us there on this channel. He's coming through on this channel. He's showing us. So thank you, Jesus. And thank you for supporting yourself and using this channel to heal. Thank you for giving this video a like and a thumbs up and subscribing to this channel, and hit the notification bell to be alerted when we are here. And loves to you, everyone. And if you guys want to donate, we do have a donation link, and Resistor has posted that as well, as your donations help us to stay live, as this is what I do every day. And on Sundays, we're here at 2 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern time, as we do a Bible study on Sunday. For those of you who are not churchgoers but you still want to deep dive into scripture, we deep dive. We talk about what isn't being talked about in churches, as Jesus shows up and shares with us insightful information. So with that said, we'll see you later. Enjoy your afternoon. I love you all. God bless and see you. Bye-bye.